My name is Captain David Devine. I'm the Adjutant and Voting Officer for Headquarters Service Battalion, U.S. Marine Corps Forces Pacific. Most of the time what I tell Marines, you should always exercise your right to vote because it's part of your right as a citizen, and there's a lot of people don't have that privilege to vote. And also because a lot of people have died in the past to bring us to this current day and age where you have the right to exercise your freedom to vote. And many people should do it. And if you really care about your future, you should vote for it. We have what's called the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act. It creates special provisions for the absent uniformed service member and overseas citizen to vote by mail in the primary, general, and special elections for federal offices, and to allow these individuals to use a federal write-in absentee ballot, FWAB, in the general election for federal offices. And I have a copy of what an FWAB looks like. And if you go on voting.gov, this is the actual FWAB, and it says Voters Declaration Affirmation for the Federal Write-in Absentee Ballot. And it's self-explanatory. You go down, it has instructions. It has your write-in absentee ballot here. And then if you come and see me, I have what's called the Voting Assistant Guide. And it varies by where you're registered to vote. And I can look it up and we can give you information and the addresses of where to vote it based on county and state. For Marines to register in their home state, they must be registered to obtain a ballot. So the Uniform and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act allows voters to register by completing what's called a Federal Postcard Application, FPCA. The completed FPCA must then be received or postmarked by the clerk's office no later than 30 days prior to an election to be added to the voter polls. And I'll show you a copy of the FPCA. This is the Voter Registration Absentee Ballot Request Federal Postcard Application. Again, self-explanatory along with the instructions, and it actually has the postage paid, and you fill in the address and everything based on the voting assistance guide on where you're from. You fill this out, and once you fill this out, you will receive an actual ballot for the state. And then you will fill that ballot and then return it for your vote to count. But if you don't receive your ballot after you have registered, you can go into the voting assistance guide or come see myself, work in the S1, and I can look up where you're from, and you can also look it up online based on which state that you're from to see if your ballot was received. And if you never receive your ballot to vote, then you will fill out an FWAB, the Federal Write-in Absentee Ballot, and then send that in, and then that will be provided in absence of your actual ballot from the state. Timelines to fill out the federal postcard application, you have to do that 30 days in advance, and that provides you the ballot. And then if you're already registered and you haven't received the ballot, because as military service members we're always moving, and sometimes it doesn't always catch up with you on time, you just fill out the federal write-in absentee ballot and then you mail that in. And as long as the ballots are reached to the clerk's office by the time of election, it'll be counted. But a lot of times it varies by state. So if you look in the voter assistance guide, it'll tell you what's the timeline for them to receive it. The Federal Voting Assistance Program, FVAP, is a voting assistance program for service members and their families and overseas citizens. They also have it online. It's called fvap.gov. You can also call them. The number is 1-800-438-VOTE. And you can also email them at vote@fvap.gov, fvap.gov. We also have a ton of information in the S1. I have the voting assistance guide, and we also provide this to the personnel of the command. This is located in the S1 office, in the admin office, and this has an entire class of the procedures to vote with valuable information, and it has a login where we record everybody that checks in. It's part of the check-in procedures into the command, whether you're new or you've been in a while. Everybody checks in with us, and while we do an endorsement on their orders, we we have them read the voting binder, and we have them log in and apply for registration. So we make sure we get 100% contact of everyone in the command. Yes, as the voting assistance officer, I am kind of the liaison between the brand new Marine, whether he's a private or PFC, and his first time out from his mom's house, and he's learning how to vote, to the senior staff NCO officer that has a ton of experience and has voted in the past. Because we move so much and not all the time do, whether we're registered in a certain state and the ballots don't always catch up with us, they come in to see me to either get an FWAB or for the new voters to get an FPCA so they can register to vote. So part of my job is to ensure Marines know how to vote and they have the opportunity to do so. As a voting officer, I encourage Marines and their families to vote as soon as possible to avoid losing the opportunity. The website again is fvap.gov, and the website's purpose is to help uniformed service members, their families, and other citizens living outside the U.S. with their voting needs. There's two ways that we help Marines find their voting assistance officer. One, as soon as they check into the S1 administration, the front service clerk, he identifies who I am as the voting officer, where I'm located, and we also provide them, again, the voting folder so they can look at the information available, and then it has them log in and register to get an FPCA or an FWAB, which one of the two. We also got nice handy posters posted out throughout the building in various wings and ladder wells, and it has our information with my name on those posters so that people could see it and know where to find me. What I would tell them before someone can vote for the first time is that they need to register. That's first and foremost. fvap.gov answers all registration concerns, as well as I am down in the S1 office. I can answer any of the questions. The process for registration varies from state to state. Some states require registration for every election, while others require voters to remain active to keep their registration current. And that's always a challenge because, again, as Marines, we move every 36 months. The registration can either be done electronically or through hard copy, which is mailed to a person's registration office in their home state, depending on which state he or she is registering. So I like to give them a lot of information up front. And just to give you an example, looking in the voting assistance guide, I'm gonna go to the tab for New York, since I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And here in New York, what's neat about New York State is that it has the dates for the presidential primary, the federal primary, and the general election. And as a reminder, the general election is coming up on November 8, 2016. So ensure it's not too late that you go out there and ensure you're registered and your absentee ballots mailed in. But what's neat about New York is that they have the ability, what's called the DoD Electronic Transmission Service, ETS. The DoD ETS allows you to email or fax your election materials toll-free. That's perfect. Email is always the quickest way, so that makes it easier and it gets there instantaneously instead of trying to pen on the mail service.